Great. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our week 7 of the course Path to Education, Training and Employment. Today, we are going to continue the conversation that we've started last week in terms of the application process for jobs here in the UK. But before that, I would like to just remind you of the employability skill set. If you remember from last week, we've talked about a skill set including 9 skills, 9 employability skills, that almost every job advert is designed based on 1, 2, 3 or more of these skills. So starting from business awareness, which means if you apply for a particular job, you need to show a general understanding of that particular sector. So for instance, if you apply for a job in NHS, you need to be able to explain briefly or write in your statement about your understanding of how NHS works in the country, or what are the main values of the NHS. If you apply for a job in Tesco, you need to have a basic understanding of the culture, the organizational culture, the business culture, the values, the principles of the company. And you can gain that through research, by going online, by searching the website, by finding information about the company, the sector, the industry. You can find that basic understanding so that later you can show your understanding, you can communicate your understanding through your application, through your written application. You can write it in your personal statement saying that I'm familiar with the culture of NHS, the values of Tesco, this company, that company, as well as when you go to interview, you can explain and you can show your familiarity with that particular sector, industry, or business. The second one was communication skills. And if you remember from last week, we've talked about communication is not just about language. So you cannot say, oh, my communication skills are perfect because I speak perfect English. So it's partly about language, but it's mainly about being able to communicate yourself, your ideas, your thoughts, your needs to others, and being able to understand them as well. So some people, they can speak fluently language of the country, but they are not good in terms of communicating what they want or what they want to say, or it's not easy for them to understand others during communications. So it's very important to have that skill, and it's very important to show that in your application and in your interview when you go to job interviews. And today we are going to learn how to show that both in your application and if you go to interview, how to respond to interview questions to highlight and to single out your employability skills. The third one is about entrepreneurship and enterprise, and by that we mean you can see value in different opportunities. So it's not just about being self-employed, it's not about running your own business, but enterprise mainly is about being able to create value and being able to see value in different opportunities, values that other people may not be able to easily see. Information technology, it's more increasingly important for you to be able to work with IT, because most of the jobs in one way or another, they require IT skills. So you should be able to work with computers, mobiles, laptops, tablets, and with basic softwares such as Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Zoom, Teams, email, and so on and so forth. It's not about very complicated technical skills. It's mainly about being able to use technology for the purpose of your... I'm going just to mute microphones. Okay. Being able to use technology for the purpose of your job and to deliver your job. The next one is numeracy, being good in working with numbers. And almost in every job, you need to be able to work with numbers. For some jobs, you need the basic skills. For others, you may need like more the higher levels of numeracy skills, but you should be able to show that if required. Problem solving. So almost in every job, you come across different problems on a daily or weekly basis. So, and it's important for employers to employ someone who can solve problems without always being reliant on someone else's support. So they want people who can deal with difficult situations and who can find solution for the problems that they may face every day or every week in their workplace. The next one is about resilience, and resilience is it's about the ability to recover from difficult situations, okay? The ability to bounce back. So for instance, you may fail to do something, you may not be able to deliver the task that you're required to, but the important thing is you need to learn from that, and you need to come back again to be able to continue with your job. It's not about just getting frustrated and disappointed and not being able to continue. So you should show a good resilience. Self-management, people who can work without external pressure. So if you're the kind of person that you need a boss, a manager, a leader to just supervise you and just to push you, that's not the type of employee that many employers want. They want people who work and who deliver their tasks without external pressure, because they pay you to do that job and they don't want to pay someone else to put you under pressure to do that job, okay? So it's important to show your self-management. And then the number 9 is teamworking. And most of the jobs, they require some levels of teamwork. So it's very difficult to think about jobs that you don't need to work as part of a team. Even if you work in a restaurant, you need to work with the rest of the team in reception, other staff, kitchen, waiters, and so on and so forth. So if you work in a hospital, you need to work with other people, the nurses, doctor, receptionists, ambulance staff, and so on and so forth. So you should be able to work as part of a team, and you should be able to support other team workers. So have these skills in mind, and as I said, when you start writing an application, when you go to an interview, most of the time it's about some of these skills that are more relevant to that job. So not all of them may be necessary. So for some jobs, they need communication, problem solving, self-management, teamwork. For others, they may need IT, numeracy, teamwork, communication. And then they specify those skills that are needed in their job advert. And then your task is to specifically address each of those skills. And in your application process, in your written application, when you're answering the questions or when you go to interviews, you need to specifically talk about those required skills. One major issue that many people face, they keep saying that, oh, I applied for 20 jobs, but I've never had anything back. They never responded to my application. One major issue could be you didn't respond effectively to the job advert. They wanted you to talk about your communication, problem solving, and self-management, but you sent a statement talking about teamwork, business environment, numeracy. Okay, so those are good skills, but those are not the skills that employers want for that particular job. So it's always important to read carefully the advert, understand what they want, and then showing them that you are the one they want, not you are the one you are, okay? So you may be a very good person. You may have 5, 6 very good skills from this data, from this skill set, but you may not have the skills that they want. So it's not about what you can do. It's about showing them you can do what they want. And that's the main point, that if you practice, you can learn how to tailor and how to make your statement and make your interview specific to that particular job. And that's what we are going to learn today, and that's what we are going to practice today. Okay, so let's start with, so basically, in the past, especially for entry-level jobs, it was mainly about having a CV, and then you were sending your CV to different places, or you were sending your CV for different employers, and then they were going through your CV. If your CV was good, they would have invited you to an interview. If not, that's it. You didn't get anything back. But today, and more increasingly, employers, even for entry-level jobs, they don't accept CVs, or if they accept, CV is not the most important part of your application. So even in many job adverts, they clearly say, we don't accept CVs, or please do not send CVs, which means CVs are not that important, because everyone can write a CV, and then in that CV just saying that, oh, I'm this, I'm good in that, I've done this, I've done that, or I have this degree, I have that degree. But what they want these days, it's for you to answer some questions, or for you to write a letter of a statement or a personal statement. And in that, the difference between a CV and personal statement or answering question is, CV is very general, it's not about a specific job, but application letter, statement letter, personal statement, letter of a statement, whatever you call it, it should be written specifically for a particular job, for a particular company, for a particular job advert, which we are going to practice today. What you need to do before starting the application process, and before starting writing the letter, or the statement letter, or the personal statement. So first of all, you need to collect some information about that specific employer. So if it's a big company, a small company, whatever, you need to go online, because most companies, most employers, they have some sort of online presence. They have a website, they have social media, so on, LinkedIn page, whatever. So you need to do a basic search, and you need to collect some information about that employer, which then you can use in writing your CV, in writing your statement, or in answering to their questions. So always make sure, find out who is the employer. It's a company, a small company, local company, it's an NHS, it's Tesco, it's Google, or whatever. It doesn't matter how small or big that employer is. It's about you showing that you've done some research and you've collected some information about it. It's very important for employers to see, and that's one good way of showing your skills, that I could collect data about you. I had enough passion in applying for this job, to the extent that I spent some time, did some search, and collected this information about you. Then you need to have some more information, some kind of more general information about the sector. So if it's a small company in, I'm not sure, it's in, let's say, furniture company, you need to show some general understanding about the sector as well, okay? The current trends, the values, the principles, the other competitors, and so on and so forth. And then some information about what is in that company that you like them, okay? Or in that place that so you can say, oh, I'm applying for a job in Manchester something hospital. So specifically, you should have some ideas to talk about what makes Manchester Hospital a good place for you to work, Okay, why you are interested in applying to Manchester Hospital instead of, I'm not sure, Birmingham Hospital. Okay, so you need to make some points about what makes them different from other places that kind of encourages you to apply for that job. So that's the first thing. You need to think about, okay, what is the place that I'm going to apply to? What is the sector that I'm going to apply to? And why I would like to apply to this specific place or a specific employer or a specific company. And then you need to collect some information. And this information is needed when you start writing your application. The next part is you need to carefully read the job advert, okay? Because most of the jobs are online, and you probably go search, I'm not sure, Indeed or any other web page, or you go to the company's web page, you get some emails, you go on LinkedIn. So in one way, you find that job, and as part of that, you will see the job advert. I can't think of any job without, oh, there might be, but I can't think of jobs without adverts. So there should be a piece of paper, a form, something which gives you some information about the job itself, the responsibilities, the tasks that you need to do as part of that job. Also, it tells you some information about that person that they are looking for, which usually it's labeled person specification. And that's the most important thing. So many people, they apply without carefully reading the job advert. And if you don't read the job advert, and if you don't analyze the job advert, and if you don't understand specifically what they want, then it will be difficult to write a good statement, or it would be difficult to answer to their questions. So, and I understand sometimes especially if you speak English as your second language, sometimes it's difficult to focus. People start with more focus from the beginning, but as they get through the middle of the page, they become tired and they lose that concentration and focus. So it's very important to take time to read the job advert once, twice, 3 times, and highlight it, make sure what are the most important areas that you need to address, because then you can start your writing based on the most important parts of that advert. So just as an example, I'm going to perhaps show you a few examples of a job advert. So I just take a moment so that it pops up on your screens as well. So this is Charity Jobs. It's a job finding platform. It's similar to Indeed. Even if you go on Indeed, that everyone knows, they have thousands of jobs. And for every job, regardless of what sector or the payment or whatever, there should be a job advert. And by job advert, we mean a document, a piece of paper, a piece of writing, which shows what is that job about, the job description, what are the main duties, the main responsibilities, the main tasks that you are expected to do as part of that job, about the role, about you. And then this is the most important part of a job advert. What is the person that they want to employ? What is the person that they want to give that job to? So in different job adverts, it may have different names. Sometimes it's about you section. Sometimes it could be job specification, or it could be personal specification, and so on and so forth. So it doesn't matter what is the label. There is always a section which says the person should have these characteristics, these experiences, these qualifications, these personal qualities or personal attributes as well. So here, for instance, it says, okay, it's a well-being assistant. It's a job with £11.75 per hour. So it's like an elementary entry-level kind of job. It talks about the location. It's in somewhere. The benefits company pension, free parking, and other benefits that come at the top of the payment. And then the job description, okay? It's a care house, provides residential support and nursing for dementia patients. And then the role itself. So as a wellbeing assistant, you will support the planning, creation, and delivery of the home's leisure and wellness program, which aims to encourage residents to practice in a wide range of engaging activities. So you work with those residents with dementia or Alzheimer, and you help them to engage in more kind of physical well-being activities. So that's the job. But the main thing is the about you section. It says you don't need a background in care, as well as we will provide a full training program, including this and that. And they give you the award for the level 3 award for supporting activity provision in social care. So the first thing, you don't need to have the background, which is something that you can have in mind. You will need excellent computer literacy, okay? So just think about the skill set that we talked about. IT, even for entry level, for £10 an hour, for £11 an hour job, they want you to have some computer literacy, IT literacy, being able to work with computer, mobiles, phones, and so on. And reading and writing skills, which is part of the communication skills. And you will be able to communicate clearly, again, communication, with a wide variety of people, including our residents. You will be creative, well-organized, and everything is about self-management. Just remember the skill sets. And you will have a genuine interest in active aging for older people. So you have passion for the sector and for the business as well. Weekend availability is essential, as our activities and well-being assistant work alternate weekends. So you need to be able during weekends. The successful candidate will be subject to this and that. And yeah. So from this part, you have all the information about what they want from the person. And then this is what you need to have in mind when writing your statement or when going to interview for the job. So you need to make sure in your statement, you write about your computer skills. You need to write about your reading and writing skills. You need to write about, if you have qualification, it's always good to mention that, oh, I have that level 2 qualification. Although they don't need it, but if you have it, it puts you in kind of a more, in a better place than other applicants. You need to write about, you have creativity and you are a well-organized person, okay? If you don't write them, whatever else that you write, it doesn't make any difference for you, okay? They specifically look into your statement and in your application, just searching for anything relevant to computer literacy, writing and reading, communicating clearly, creativity, and well-organized, being well-organized. So these are the main things that they want. If you say, oh, I'm a pilot, I won a Nobel Prize, I can do this and do that, that's good. You are a great person, but you are not the person that they want, okay? They want only a person who can do these. If you can drive a car, that's not important. If you can work with high-tech devices, that's not important for this job. You need to read, understand, list what are the main things that they want, and then respond to them in your application letter. And we are going to practice how to respond. Is it clear how to analyze the job advert? We are going to see other examples of job advert as well. Let's see. Like here, it's another one. It is for let's say director of operation. So it's relatively higher level job. It's for a managerial job with £50,000 a year, which is relatively high. If you remember, the average income for professionals in the UK was about 40,000. So if for £50,000 job a year, it's relatively kind of high level managerial role. So it's not, it's a totally different job with assistant well-being. But the point is, even in this one, okay, let's see, the advert is about, okay, about us. It gives you some information about the employer. So Headway East London is a charity supporting people living with brain injury. So you can find information about the employer, about the workplace and what they do. If you need more information, you can just go online. The best way of finding, so it was Headway East London. And you can find more information about who they are, what are the principles, what are their values, what makes them different from others, and so on and so forth in their webpage. So the company's webpage is always a good place to start collecting information. Okay, so then the next part is about the role. Okay, what are the main duties, the main tasks, the main responsibilities that you are expected to do as part of that role? So you are the director of operation. These are what you need to do, and these are the main responsibilities. So strategic leadership, oversee the development of planning and strategies, leading the team, working with the staff, supporting the team, and so on. So these are all the things that you need to do as part of that job. And the key relationship. So you have relationship with the members, with the staff, with board of trustees, with and external partners. Okay, so then it comes with a job pack. Okay, so here in the online advert, there wasn't anything about you, but because it's a more kind of professional job, it comes with a job pack. And in that job pack, as you can see, it gives you more information about the job title, location, the responsibilities, number of hours, salary, about us, about the role, principal duties and responsibilities, relationships. And then from here, it starts about what they expect from the person who applies for the job. Okay. So let's start with it starts with health and safety and data protection. But then the first one in general things that they want from you is be aware of and adhere to Headway East London policies at all times, which means, again, go back to the skill sets. Okay, it's business awareness. So you need to be aware of the Headway East London policies so that you can comply and adhere to them. Okay, so you should be able to show that you understand what are their policies. Taking part in progress performance reviews and so on. And then it comes to personal specification. Okay, so here is the most important part of this advert. And for most of the professional jobs, when you go like for mid to upper media kind of intermediate jobs, then most of the job adverts come with this table. There is, most of the times there is a table which gives you very clear information about the experience that you need, the knowledge that you need to have, and the skills that you need to have, as well as personal attributes and additional requirements. And these are the main things that you need to have in mind when writing your application or when going to interview. And if you read them, I'm going to just read some of them for you, but again, you will see all of them are about those 9 skill sets. In terms of experience, extensive experience of managing relevant services in the public or voluntary sector, which means you need to have some awareness and information about the sector in the industry. Just go back to the skill set. Again, experience of developing and implementing new initiatives, including those that generate income, the ability to be entrepreneurship and enterprise ability, experience of co-production, understanding its opportunities and challenges, and a commitment to embed co-production in every level of the organization, experience of building relationship with other stakeholders, communication, being able to communicate with different peoples, other companies, other organizations, and so forth. Understanding of the charity sector, again, goes back to awareness of the sector, understanding brain injury. All of them are about the awareness of the sector. When it comes to skills, presenting it to a variety of audience. So just think about, I'm going to ask you about this. The first one, advanced skills in presenting to a variety of audiences. And think about the skill sets. Which skill this one is about from the skill set? Any idea? Thinking about those 9 skills, which one, the first bullet point, is about advanced skills in presenting to a variety of audience?
Communication?
Absolutely, yes. So the first one is clearly about communication. So the point is, it doesn't matter how much you are going to have. Is it £50,000 a year or £10 an hour for an entry-level or high-level job? It's job advert and job application and job interviews are about showing your employability skills. So for an entry-level job like this, you need to show that you are good in communication. For a managerial level job like this, again, you need to show your communication skills, but the level is different. The only difference is the level of expectation is different. You need to be much better in communication when you are a manager than you are an assistant. But having that skill and showing that you have that skill is important. Business planning, IT skills again. So going back to information technology and IT. So entry-level jobs, top-level jobs, all of them, they need IT skill. Again, communication, literacy, numeracy, everything comes from that skill set. And then going down, it's about your personal attributes and additional requirements. Okay, so when you start writing your job application, your statement, or when you go to interview, you need to explain about this. You don't need to have all of them necessarily. So from the first one, from those 6 bullet points, you may have 4 or 3, but it's important to write about them. Okay. Whatever else you write about, if that's not in this table, it doesn't add any value to your application and it doesn't give you any advantage over other applicants. So they want you to clearly write about your experience, your knowledge, your skills, your personal attributes, and your additional requirements based on this table. Even when you start writing, the structure of your writing should follow the table. So you start your statement with your experience. Oh, these are my experience. You don't start with skills. You start with experience, then you start writing about your knowledge, then you start writing about your skills, then about your personal attributes, and you finish with writing about your additional requirements that you have. If you have a sense of humor, if you are a responsible person, if you're flexible, and the last one is about DBS. And the final part of the most of the adverts is about how to apply. So it gives you a deadline which you need to apply by that deadline, and it gives you information about what you need to do as part of that. So they need your CV, your cover letter, and in that cover letter they want you to highlight what you are the right person for the role, and that's the most important part of the application process. So 2 pages cover letter. Here they call it cover letter. In other adverts, they may call it personal statement or a statement of purpose or whatever. But that's the space that you have, and usually it's like 2 or 3 pages. It depends on the job. For entry-level jobs, it could be 1 page, and then the higher that you go, they give you more space because you have more skills, and you need to show more skills for that job. So 2 pages, and you need to highlight what you are the right person for the role, not what you are the right person, what you are a good person. Why you are a good person for the role, okay? That's the most important thing that you need to have in mind. And for the role means this. This is what they want. It's not about how good a person you are. It's about whether you can do, you have these experiences, knowledge, skills or not. And then you need to design your statement based on this. Okay. These are examples of job adverts. And like I said, it doesn't matter whether it's like entry-level jobs with £10 an hour with minimum wage, or it's more managerial with 50K a year. All of them, they have some information about the company, the industry, the employer, some information about the job itself, the responsibilities, tasks, duties. And then the most important part that you need to read and understand, it's about personal specification. It's about you part. And then you need to highlight and make a list of, oh, these are the most important things that they want and I have. And then you start writing about them. And then I'm going to show you some examples of how to write an effective job application. So, any question before we carry on about the job advert specifically?
I have one question, if I
Please
may.
go ahead.
Amir, you mentioned about that how I'm to reply the question that how fit I am for that position. We focus on skill. What about the theory of the position? Should we also focus while responding this question to the theory?
I didn't catch that. What about what?
About how good we are or why we think we are the best candidate for that position.
Well, you need to think about why you are the best candidate that they want. Is there anything that makes you a good candidate which is not in this list?
No, my question is that should we focus only on the skill side or the theory of the job as well?
No. It's just about these kind of skills. Okay, it's about the experience, knowledge, skills, and personal attributes in relation to that job. Okay, you can say, oh, I'm the best person, the most reliable person that you can think of, but job application is not about explaining how good a person you are for that job. It's about explaining how good person you are based on the requirements of the job. Okay, so I can't think of anything which makes you a good person which is not in this table. Okay, and it's difficult to find a person with all these experiences, knowledge, skills, and attributes and others. The main thing is from the list, you need to pick which ones do you have and then concentrate on those when writing your application. Does that make sense, Salah?
Good morning, Amir.
Good morning.
I have 2 questions. First, my first question is it necessary to send with any job application a cover letter?
Well, the only person that can answer that question is the employer. If they want it, you should send it. If no, you shouldn't. So here, you should just follow what they want. So here, they want a CV, they want a cover letter, 2 pages. So that's what you need to do. In other job adverts, they may say, don't send a CV, send 4 pages of cover letter. So this one is another one. So just answering Ali's question. So this is another job advert. And here they are looking for a finance and operation officer. It's a £30,000. It's like mid-level kind of job. It talks about the company itself. It talks about the role, and these are the tasks that you need to do. These are the key responsibilities that you need to do. And then they have about you, which is personal specification. So they need you to show that you have these experiences. They need you to have these skills and competencies. And that's it. So you should be focused on this when answering questions, writing statements, or going to interviews. But then when you go down, when it comes to how to apply, they don't want you to write in a statement. They want you to go through the application form. And when you click on the application form, they have an online application process. So the point is, every employer, they have their own way of application. Some may want you to send email, some may want you to send to fill forms, some may want you to print something and post it. But the only thing is, you need just to read the application, read the advert, and then find out what is the application process. Like for this one, I'm just going to, they start with what's your first name, what's your surname, what's your email address, your mobile number, how did you hear about us, what's the earliest day that you can start the job, did you have the right to work in the UK, do you want us to make any reasonable adjustment to your interview? So these are some general questions. And then they give you information about, okay, we are going to ask 3 questions that you need to answer. And then at the end, they want you to upload your CV. So those 3 questions, before we get to those 3 questions, so those 3 questions are mainly the space for you to show that I have these requirements. So you have the job advert, but those questions are just general questions about, let's see. First of all, tell us why you want to work at Future Frontiers. What is about us that excites you? Okay, and if you remember from the first slide, you always need to do some background research or background search about the company. So you need to say, oh, this is the company, I like the company because of this, and they are different with other companies in that field for this and that. And it shows your understanding and awareness of the business, which is one of the skills. So here you have 1,500 characters, like probably 200, 300 words to write about why do you want to work for that company. The second part is, please tell us your experience of using and qualifications with Xero software. So they need you to be an expert in working with that software, which is like an accountancy software. So which means if you don't have it, because that was one of the things in the job advert, you should be able to work with Xero software. So here they want you to talk about that experience. And then the third question, please tell us about your experience supporting operation administration functions to date and what you think are learning opportunities for you. So again, goes back to job advert and personal specification and about you section of that. So you need to explain your experience specifically in relation to operation and administration. Okay. And then when you answer these 3 questions, they give you a link to upload your CV. So the point is, they may have different ways of collecting information or different ways of application process. But at the end, what you are going to say always is about the job advert and is about the personal specification. If you write in a statement, it's about how you meet that personal specification. If they ask questions on kind of an online form, again, the answer is about how you meet those requirements for the job. So I cannot say you need to send a statement or not. It depends on how they want you to apply for that job. But most of the times, you need to write a personal statement.
Okay, thank you. And I have another question. Will you talk about universal
Mhm.
personal statement for university applications.
Yep. Well, if you when in our first few sessions when it was about university application, we talked about how to write a personal statement for university. It's more or less similar when you write for a university application, but it's not very skills based. So for university, it's more about your passion for what you are going to study. Okay, they don't expect you to have experience of nursing when you apply for nursing. It's about why and how you are passionate and you would like to study that. Whereas when it comes to job application, it's very skills focused. It's based on, okay, they want to pay you, okay, and they don't want to waste their money. They say, we are looking for a person with this list of skills. And then when you write your statement, you should show that you are the person that they want, because otherwise they are not going to give that money to you. So that's the main difference. Jobs are more skills-based. University is more about passion, understanding, and enthusiasm to study something. I have two questions here.
Can we say for university application, you should fit in the personal statement, why me, why this university, and why me and why this university?
Yeah, like I said, it's mainly about personal passion. So you want to do something, you need to say why, explain why you want to do it. But in job, you explain why you are the person that they want. You are answering two different questions.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So we have a question which says, when I prepare CV, I don't understand about the cover, first 2 pages. Can you brief? Well, these are two different things. So cover letter and CV are two different documents. So you have a CV which says, oh, these are my qualifications, these are job experiences, these are the main skills, and so on. But cover letter is a different document. It's not linked to your CV. Cover letter is a statement that you write about why you are the right person for that role. Okay, so you should write about all these experiences, knowledge, skills that and personal attributes that they want in your cover letter. So these are totally different documents. One is based on who you are. CV is about who you are. But cover letter is about why you are the best person for that role. You need to explain why do you think they should hire you and give you money for that job. My old CV is 2-page. How it would be possible to prepare my cover letter 2-page? Can I copy paste it from my CV? No, like I said, CV is totally different from the cover letter. In the next few slides, I'm going to show you what you can write in your and how you should write it in your cover letter. Don't worry. It's not that difficult. But the only thing is you need to think about yourself. You need to list the skills that you have and then try to write them within the framework of the job advert. I'm going to show you how to do it in the next few slides. But no, CV is totally different. If your CV is 1-page, 2-page, 3-page, that's not an issue. Don't be worried. As you start your job, your CV is usually short because you don't have many experiences. But every year, every few years, as you move on to the next job and next job and next job, you will add to your CV. So probably with 10, 15 years of experience, you are going to have like 5 pages of CV. It's not a bad thing that your CV is short, because you are just in the beginning of starting job here in the UK. Our cover letter should be short. Well, cover letter, it's not about us, okay? No one can say cover letter should be short or long. It's about them. They tell you that, okay, that your cover letter should be maximum 2 pages, okay? So it's not about someone telling you that your cover letter should be, it's not about your uncle telling you your cover letter should be short or long. It's about the employer, okay? That's why you should write and understand what they want, not what other people like your neighbor or teacher or someone else says. always read and follow what they clearly ask. A CV, a cover letter. For the other one, 3 questions, each 500 words, okay? So always follow what they want, not what others said to you. Okay, so sometimes for some jobs, the higher the job is, the role is, the higher the income or the salary for the job, you may have a space to write like 5 pages, okay? So the more skills than they need, the longer this table, the more space you have to write about your skills. So for this one, this is like an entry level. They don't give you that 2-page, 3-page. It's probably 1 page of cover letter. So it's about the job level as well. But the point is, always read, understand, and follow what they want. They want to give money. It's not about what we want. It's about what they want. And they give money to the person that follows what they say, not the person that does what they see as right. Okay, so let's take some, can we say CV is a fixed? Yes, so CV is more or less fixed because you put everything that you have on the CV. You cannot just find things overnight to add to your CV. If you say this is my qualification, it's very difficult to change it because that's your qualification. So CV is more or less fixed. However, sometimes you may just change it slightly to kind of adjust it, to tailor it to the job. But most of the time you have a fixed CV. But what does change is the cover letter. So you change your cover letter based on the job and based on the job specification. In one cover letter, you may need to write about time management because they want someone with good time management. But in other one, maybe you take the time management off and then you put team management because they need someone with team management skills. Yeah, that was a good point, Ali. So I have a question. You have all things they ask you, but the problem is numerous of the experience. How to do? Well, like I said, you don't need to have all of those skills to apply for job. Okay, so don't be worried if you don't have all of them. Just write about as many as them as you have. It's very difficult for the employers to find a person with all of that. And always have in mind that job application is a competition. Okay, so 20 people applying for this, some have 5 of this, some have 6, some have 4. So you may be even better than many of them. Okay, so don't think that because you don't have many of these, some of these bullet points, you cannot apply or they don't give you that job. So make sure that you have some of these, apply for the job, explain them effectively, and then the rest is about competition. They may get some people who are better than you, but who knows, sometimes you may be the best person or one of the good ones in that list of applicants. So it's not about having all of them again. You need to have some or most, but if you don't have some, don't be disappointed. Just continue and just leave it to the competition. Sometimes you may be lucky, you are the best applicant, and they are going to invite you to the interview. Okay, let's take who don't have any. Well, let's take 10 minutes break. Okay, it's 11. We come back 10 past 11, and I'm going to show you how to write your personal statement or the job application. And as part of that, I will answer Wilfred's question about how to write your statement if you don't have experience. Okay, 10 minutes. We will be back 10 past 11. Session today. So we've talked about the requirements for the application, and as you have noticed, some employees want CV, some they don't want CV, but CV is not the only part and it's not the most important part. The main part that they want is either you write a cover letter, a personal statement, or you answer some questions as part of the application process to show that you are the best person for the role. And for that, you need to carefully read the job description, and you need to write your statement or cover letter based on the requirements of the role. So basically, when you start responding to an application, to a job advert, and when you start the application process, you are required to give some personal information. And in the form, in the online form, they ask you about your name, your surname, your email address, and your phone number. Okay, and that's what you need to give. Okay, I notice some people they add their photo, they give their nationality, they give their age, sex, race, or whatever, religion. These are not required, okay? These are your personal information, and no one asks you those kind of information for the job application, okay? In some countries, it may be normal to when you're filling forms, form about, okay, what is your nationality, or what is your religion, or what is your address, or whatever. But here, okay, because of the kind of the equality requirements, and seeing people in equal position, employers, they don't need and they don't collect those kind of information. Sometimes they collect that information later, but that's again optional. They would say, oh, now, if you would like, please fill this form, which asks you about your gender, your sexuality, your race, your whatever, but that's optional, and that's not part of the application process. They use those information separately. So please, in your CV, in your application letter, don't write more than your name and your contact details. Even if you have noticed, if they want to know about your nationality, they don't ask you what your nationality is. They ask you, do you have the right to work in this country or not? Because that's the important for them. They don't mind if you are from Sudan or from, I'm not sure, Bulgaria. The point for them is for you to have the right to work in the country. So please, if you have those information in your CV, take them out, because one thing that it shows that you're not familiar with CV writing here in this country, which is not good, because if you don't know the CV writing, you don't know many other things about the work culture here in the UK. So they need your basic name, contact details. And sometimes, do you have the right to work in this country or not? Then they need some information about your educational background, your work experience, and then, as you have noticed, if you need to answer questions, there are some questions, as you've noticed in the online application form, some questions about your skills and competencies, and in that you need to specifically address personal specification, what they want for that job, not writing about whatever you want. It's about writing about what they want. And then you write a personal statement, which needs to be very well structured. And if you remember, a structure comes from the job advert. If they start with the skills, experience, knowledge, you follow the same structure: skills, experience, knowledge. If they start with experience, knowledge, skills, again, you follow the same structure, because first, it shows them that you have read the advert. It shows them that you can analyze a document. All of these are employability skills, and it makes it easier for them. When you have a structure, it makes it easier for them to read and compare, because they have the job advert and they have your statement together. If you follow the same structure, it makes it easier for them to see, yes, tick, tick, tick. But if you make it kind of mixed, and if you don't follow that structure, it makes it difficult and boring for them and tiring for them to see, oh, which one is linked to which one. And if they get tired, well, probably it's not going to work for you, because you want them to clearly see, you don't want to put pressure, you don't want to take time of the employer. You just need to make it as easy as possible for them to read and to see if you are that person or not. Okay. As I have said several times, what skills employers want and show that you have them. Again, I added a link here, and if you follow the link, it takes you to this page. What skills do employer want? And this page, again, there is a very good video and some more information about the skills that we talked about. Okay, we already know what are the skill sets, what are those 9 skill sets that they want. But here, again, you can find more information with some examples of how to use them in your CV. So when it's about communication, resilience, awareness, leadership, planning, adaptability, what are these and how to make them relevant to your job application? And then you can watch the video for more information as well. So make sure that you use the link to find more information. The other point is, please don't lie, okay? Because some people would say, oh, it's easy to write that, oh, I've worked here for 10 years and I have good communication skills. Because first of all, it's not about just saying that, it's about proving your experience, first of all. And then the second one is, even if they invite you to the interview, during the interview, they can easily see that you have lied in your application. And don't exaggerate. So if you don't have an experience, don't write it down, because then it would be easy for them to see through your writing. And even if they invite you to the interview, with the first or the second question, they can see that you are not the person that you said in your personal statement, in your cover letter. So be honest and write about, if you are not the good person for that job, don't apply, okay? That's the main thing. Sometimes people say, oh, I don't have that degree that they want. So instead of lying, don't apply, just go and find a job that suits and that matches your personal profile. If a job is not suiting your background, the first thing that you can do, don't apply for it. You can find better jobs that suit your personal profile as well. So when you found a job that you see you have most of the requirements, so they need 10 requirements and you have 6, 7 of them, then you can start writing the application. Because if you have less than that, if you have 2 or 3 out of 10, you don't have enough content to write about. So go and find a job which better suits your CV. But when you have like 60%, 70% of what they want, then you have enough content to write in your statement or in your cover letter. The style is important, and the way that you present yourself is important. And that goes back to the question of Wilfred. What advice can you give to people who don't have any experience? So if a job wants experience and if you don't have any, so probably that's not the right job for you. Go for another job which doesn't need much experience. So, and the experience is about the higher the job, the higher the payment, the higher the role, the more experience they want. If you don't have it, probably you're not the best person to be the manager. You need to apply for a more entry-level job. And then in 2 years' time, when you have the experience, then you can apply for a higher level job. So that's the first thing. If you don't have any, and if they want experience, probably don't apply. Go and find, like if you remember the other one, like this one, here, for the assistant, well-being assistant, they don't need experience. So it's an entry-level job, elementary job. You can apply for it without experience. But this one, the managerial job, of course they need experience. They need to pay £50,000 a year to someone with experience who can do the job. So if you don't have the experience, then go one level down and apply for a job which requires less experience. But sometimes you have some experience, not any, but you have some experience that it's not substantial, it's not huge, but you have some experience for that job. So then it comes to the style and the way that you present yourself. And then let me see, yeah, it's here. It's about your style. So you need to learn how to present your limited experience in a way that looks good, that convinces them to invite you to the interview. So it comes to the skills to be able to write a good personal statement. So the words that you use is important. So you need to learn how to use action words. So saying that, oh, I delivered a difficult task. I achieved these outcomes. I inspired my team to work on this project. So even with that limited experience, if you write it using these action words, it looks and sounds better to the eyes of the employer or whoever reads your statement. Choose descriptive words. So don't just simply talk about your experience. Write about how your experience was effective, consistent, determined, and how you were adaptable to the situation, and so on and so forth. Again, don't be too worried because I'm going to show you some examples later. Focus on answering the questions. So just answer what they want. Don't be vague and don't just talk about things that are not relevant. Give examples. The most important difference between a normal cover letter and a winning powerful cover letter is about giving example. Because everyone can say, oh, I have 10 years of experience in management, or I have this qualification. But the difficult thing is for them to give example of, okay, I'm a good team worker. For example, 5 years ago, when I worked in this company, I did this, which shows that I'm a good team worker. Again, we are going to work on examples. And that's very important for you to have examples and to be able to write and talk about those examples to show that you have those skills. You need to write with enthusiasm for the role. So you need to show that you are really passionate. It's not just for money. You need to show that if you are applying for a nursing job, if you're applying for a teaching assistant job, for whatever job that you apply, even for customer assistant role in Tesco or Sainsbury's, you need to show that you like the nature of that job in terms of, oh, I would like to work with people. I would like to work with children in school and so on. And then at the end, make sure that there is no, it's not a good excuse saying that, oh, my English is not good, okay? Because you cannot ask others to help you. And there are many online tools these days, like ChatGPT or other online stuff that you can use to prevent spelling or grammar error, because there is nothing good in sending a job application without spending enough time to read and make sure that everything is correct, because then employers can see you are not a diligent, careful person. I added another link here, which gives you some examples of questions that you may be asked during the application process or during the interview process. And it gives you very good examples of how to answer. Okay, how clearly answer, how give examples, and how to relate your experience, your background to those questions. Okay, so go through the page, read the questions, read the example answers, and see which ones are similar to kind of experience and background that you have. And most of the time, questions are similar. So regardless of the job, questions they always want you to explain your competencies, your skills. If you are applying to become a professor in the university, or if you are applying to become a customer assistant in a restaurant, questions are similar. They want you to, okay, just let us know about your IT skills. Let us know about your managerial skills. Let us know about your achievements. Let us know about your last time you worked under pressure. So if you're a GP or if you're a university professor, you need to talk about working under pressure in hospital. If you're a restaurant customer assistant, you need to talk about working under pressure in the restaurant. But the question, in many cases, questions are the same. So if you learn how to answer them, you can go to different interviews, you can write different applications using the same examples. Okay, so make sure that you go through the link and you read those questions and examples. But in terms of when it comes to a structure, okay, so let me just explain this before going to the structure. As I mentioned several times, the personal specification is the key part of the job advert. That's the part that you need to read, understand, and respond to. Again, I added a video here. Well, I'm going to stop sharing for a second and then start sharing again with sound. Yeah, so I added a video here. So whatever I explained, the person in this video explains better and with similar examples. So
this presentation, I'm going to teach you an extremely useful trick that will not only explain how a person specification works, but it will also teach you how to predict the interview questions.
Okay, so that's the video. It's 13 minutes. So please take some time and go through the video. It's very helpful. Okay, it's about repeating the things that I already mentioned. But again, that video, every time that you are confused about how to write that statement or how to make sense of the job advert, go back to this video, and very clearly he explains how to understand and how to write in those main points in your application, in your statement or whatever question you're answering. So you need to have your qualification and experience already ready to write about, your knowledge and skills. You should have understanding of the knowledge and skills that you have, any special condition, and then so on and so forth. We talk about interviews next week in detail, okay? How to predict interview questions even before going to the interview, and then how to prepare yourself for interview questions. Today, it's mainly about the written application. So a very common technique, which many of you may be already aware of or familiar with in the UK and in many other countries, when writing cover letters or statements, or even when answering interview questions, is something called a STAR. And most employers, when reading the application letters, they would like you to follow the STAR technique because it makes it easy for them and less time taking for them to read and understand and see if you are the best person for that role or not. And because we want to make it easier for them, okay, we would like to be the best candidate. So it's better to follow the technique and the structure that they want. So, which means for each of the skills, for each of the, let me go back here. So for each of these experiences, knowledge, and skills that you are going to write about in your statement, in your cover letter, you need to follow the STAR technique. And that's a bit tricky, but when you learn it, then it becomes much easier. Like I said, everyone can write a letter saying that, oh, I'm the best person with communication skills. Oh, I'm the best team worker. But what makes it difficult is how to write about it and how to prove that you are right and you're not just making things up. Salah, question?
Yes, Amir. My question was exactly regarding this STAR techniques, given the limitation that we have in terms of number of words or maximum number of pages, and at the same time, the job adverbs, the job specification, and we see there's a lengthy list of requirement and skills. Then how we can really use these techniques to still be within that limit and explain or follow the STAR techniques, because you have to first explain the situations and then the actions, and then do we have that much space to even reflect on what we have done? I mean that in an interview, since you have a specific question is asked, then you have that free hand to give explanation all these 4 components. But in the job and the personal statement, how we can really follow properly this technique?
Excellent question. Thanks, Salah. And you are right. So you don't have space to write about everything with 1 STAR statement, okay? What you need to, so first of all, you need to read and decide which of these experiences and knowledge you have, and you have evidence to talk about. So probably you're not going to have all of these. So first of all, make sure that out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullet points for experience, how many of them do you have? So probably you have 4 out of 6. So 2 are already out. Then some of these bullet points are possible to put together, to merge together, because most of them, they are talking about the similar things. So the first one is about experience of managing services in public sector. The second one, experience of successfully developing new projects that generate income. So you need to be creative in writing about these 2 in 1 STAR case, okay? So you can come up with a scenario where in the public sector or in voluntary sector, you implemented projects and created income. And with that, so it's like 2 birds with 1 stone. In that statement, you show that, oh yes, I worked in the voluntary sector, and at the same time, I generated income. Sometimes there is time, there is opportunity for have 3 of this in 1 statement. So I worked in the public sector in a project that I created income, and then the third one is the experience of co-production. And in that project that I created income, we made some kind of co-production with other organizations. So having 3 in 1 scenario. So you don't need to write about 1 scenario for each, but you need to be creative in coming up with 1 scenario which hits or covers 3 or 4. In that case, you will be able to cover as many as you have in the space that you have. I'm going to give you some example later about 1 statement can cover more than 3, 4, 5 skills or experiences. Does that make sense, Salah?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so it's about...
And again, regarding giving an example, we should follow the same. You say that it's better to have example and...
Yeah, so I'm going to give you, when you follow the STAR, well, first of all, you decide, okay, from this list, I'm going to talk about from experience, I'm going to write about these 4, from knowledge, I'm going to write about these 3 or 4 or whatever, and then try to group them, saying that, okay, now bullet point 1, 2, and 3, I group them in 1 scenario, 4 or 5, I group them in 1, 7 and 8, I group them in 1, see which ones are relevant, and you can talk about them. And sometimes you can write scenarios where you cover experience with knowledge and skills all in one scenario. So you can say in the project that I created income, we presented to different audiences. So in one scenario, you cover experience, knowledge, and skills. Okay, so it doesn't need to be separately about everything, but you need to have as many as you can in those scenarios to show you are the best person. And then I'm going to give the example later. Ali?
Yes, yes. Sometimes we apply for a job, but we don't have any experience in that job. But we have experience in other jobs that is related to this job. So how we can showcase our experiences and attributes and skills that's transferable from that job to this new job.
Absolutely. Again, excellent question. It's so in many times in your career, you move from one sector to another, and there are many skills. Those are transferable and you can use in. Just be as clear, saying that I have transferable skills from other, like I never worked in voluntary sector, but I worked in healthcare sector, and I have these experiences from that sector which are transferable. And give example. For example, I didn't generate income in the public sector, but when I worked in the healthcare sector, I had similar experience of generating income. So try to relate and link. So I don't have experience of working in public sector, but in private sector, I have the experience of presenting for different audiences. So just relate and create links, and employers, they do understand these kind of transferable skills. Salah again?
Yeah, I mean, regarding the STAR techniques, should we cover all 4 components, especially the reflection or the result, which is the last point?
Well, it depends if you have
Also,
it.
Yeah, and also to which part or component of this technique we should really focus more in our response.
Well, I would say you need to have all of them, because if you took action but without showing the results, how it's going to be good, because you may have failed. So you should be able to show that as a result of those actions, we've had some achievements. Okay, so probably if I would say all of them are required, but when it comes to a space, action and results are more important. So situation and task, you can just be very brief and short, but it's mainly about the actions that you have taken, and the action space is where you can show your skills. So all of those management, time management, teamwork, enterprise, all of them, they are things that you need to show through actions. And then for your actions, for you to show that, yes, I showed my communication skills, but for you to prove that they are successful and they are in a good level, results are required. So I would say focus on the whole, but spend more space for actions and results, because those are the areas that you can talk about your skills, and then you can prove that my skills are good enough to achieve some kind of outcomes or results. Good.
And also one more comment.
Sure.
I also have noticed that they put another R as well, the reflection. After
well, you can do the reflection part as well, but basically when you write the STAR scenario, the whole part is reflection, because you are reflecting back on the situation. You're thinking back about, oh, this was the situation, I've done this action, and we achieved this. The whole process is process of reflection. The last reflection that they've added, so it's about what could have done differently. So I wouldn't suggest at this stage, unless they ask you. So because sometimes you go to the interviews and they clearly ask you, okay, if you go back, what would you do differently? And then you can say, oh, I've made a mistake there, and I prefer this time to do it differently. But for the application, for the written application process, probably you don't want to go beyond, because you don't want to show kind of negatives, weaknesses, and these kind of things. So it's about showing yourself as someone competent. But sometimes in interviews, they ask reflective questions. If they ask you reflective question, then reflect. But if not required, especially for the written part, don't do it. Just because the whole thing is about reflection. Just reflect on the results that you have achieved and stay on positives. Ali?
Sometimes we encounter two questions. What is your weakest attributes?
Mhm.
What is your strongest attribute?
Mhm.
How we can
Well,
answer-
those are the interview questions, which I said we are going to cover next week,
okay,
about how to prepare yourself for interview. So let me, before we run out of time, let me
okay.
go through this example of, okay, so you are writing you are a nurse probably, or you are a healthcare worker and applying for a job in healthcare sector, and they want someone who can handle difficult situation, and you are planning how to demonstrate your experience and your skills in handling difficult situations. So this is an example scenario. You write about the situation. So you can start with saying that I have the experience and the skills to handle difficult situation in my workplace. For example, while working a night shift in the pediatric ward, working with children or toddlers, I had a young patient who refused to take their medication. So very briefly, talking about the situation. I needed to ensure the patient took their prescribed medication without causing distress. So this was my task. Taking medication without distress. These are the two important things. I sat with the patient, explained the importance of the medicine in child-friendly terms, and offered to make it a game where they get a sticker for each successful dose. So the action and then results. The patient began taking their medication willingly. The parents were relieved, and the attending physician commended my patient care approach. Okay, so if you put it in a paragraph, it would be a very short paragraph. Okay, starting with situation, task, action, and results. It was mainly to show how the person is able to handle difficult situation, problem solving, conflict resolution. But let's analyze it further and see in one short sentence. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines or 6 lines. So it's very small paragraph. But in that small paragraph, the person, the applicant, they showed their communication skills, because they show that they are able to communicate with the young patient and using the child-friendly language. She showed the problem-solving skills. She was creative in finding a solution to convince the patient to take the medication. She was adaptable, adjusted the approach to the specific needs of the patient, because the patient was a young patient. So she didn't treat the patient like an adult. She adjusted the approach to sit and speak in a child-friendly way. Creativity, using a sticker game. So being creative in the workplace. Education, so she showed that she has that background and experience of nursing and the importance of taking medication without creating distress. And then the last one, there are two. I forgot to bold this one. Interpersonal skills. Interacted with patient. She interacted with parents, and she interacted with the GP, with the doctor. So showing that she has that interpersonal skills. And then finally, conflict resolution. The nurse resolved conflict, and everyone was happy. So as you can see, and then going back to the point that I explained for Salah's question, you don't need to write separate statements for each of those bullet points. Think about scenarios in 6 sentences, you covered one handling difficult situation, 2 communication, 3 problem solving, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 6 lines, and you hit 7 or 8 of the skills, experience, and knowledge required in that job advert. So is that clear now, how to write effectively?
Yeah.
These things take time. So, but when you have one scenario, you can use, because as you've noticed, all the job adverts, they ask for the same thing. They ask for the same skills. So when you have the scenario, then you can use that scenario again and again and again for different applications if they want that skill. So, and that's the main thing for yourself. Have a list. These are the 9 skills that employers want. And for each, have a scenario. And then every time you apply, you can just copy and paste those scenarios to your application. This time they want 3, just have those 3. This time they want 5, copy and paste those 5. So developing that scenarios take time, but once you have them, it's going to save you time. You can use them again and again and again. Mulat. You are muted, Mulat. You need to unmute your microphone. Take your time, that's fine. Yes. I think you can, you are unmuted now. But we cannot hear you. There could be an issue with your microphone.
I think he sent his question.
Oh, it says can private sector consider public sector work experience and vice versa, as the 2 sectors have different outcomes or results and objectives? I'll send you my question. Okay, yeah. So it's not, yes, they can, as long as you can show that you have those skills. Because as Ali mentioned earlier, there are some skills, those are transferable. So there are some skills that you cannot have if you don't work in that sector. So you should have some experience of public or private to have specific experiences. But most of the experiences, most of the skills are transferable. So if you are a good manager in public, probably you are going to be a good manager in private. If you are a good team worker in public, you are going to be a team worker in private. So it's more about the way that you are going to present yourself. So you can say, yes, I have the skill, although I haven't worked in private, but my experience of working in public sector and then having this managerial teamwork, these are transferable. And then you give the star scenario. For instance, I worked in this particular situation, I took these actions and I achieved these outcomes. Yes, don't be too worried about the sector. As long as you can show that you have the skills, you will be fine. Okay, so then again, looking at this is how the person is going to write it in the cover letter, starting with, oh, this during a night shift, I did this, the situation was that. And as you can see in the short paragraph, you don't need to have 10 pages. You can just write 4 scenarios, and those 4 scenarios covers the whole. So probably if I want to write a good, let me go back to here. If I want to write a good cover letter for this, probably I only need 3 scenarios to hit all these criteria, or maybe 4, but not more than that, which is possible within 2 pages. But it's about being creative and trying to write about scenarios where you can show more of the skills and experiences that you have. I'm going to send you some more information. I've added some videos. I'm going to send you some more information about how to write. There are some brochures that I'm going to share with the slides. Creating CV, cover letters, filling job application forms, writing personal statements. So you are going to have more information and material on that. I've also added a how to become, because a very common question is people keep asking me, oh, I want to become a police officer, how to become a police officer, or how to become different types of job, the train driver, or how to become a army officer. So this is a quite interesting website, and it gives you very kind of in simple terms, it gives you the practical steps for you to get, if you want to become a firefighter, what are the steps that you need to take if you would like to become a firefighter. So you may find some of them quite interesting, and some of those jobs may appeal to you, and then you can just see what are the different roads to those jobs. So make sure that you go through the website. What I wanted to do in the final part is just to show you, I'm going to again send you this this example, and just please take some time to read it, because in this example I copied, as you can see. So there is a job advert in the first page, one page here. So the first page, it shows a job advert. So it's a software company is seeking a creative and dynamic marketing coordinator. Okay, so it's a medium level job. It's not too high, it's not too low. Probably some of you are going to apply for these kind of jobs in terms of the level. So, and I copied the person specification table. So they want someone with these essential parts. So a bachelor degree, 2 years of experience, but there are some desirable. So the difference between essential and desirable is they want you to have all the essentials. So they are required. If you don't have one of these, probably you better not apply for that job. But desirables, you can apply if you have or not have them. So if you have them, it's better. You may have a better position than others. But even if you don't have them, you still have chance of having that job. So, and then it's the important part is to write about the essentials as well as any of those desirables that you have. So you may not have a master's degree, but you have experience in the industry, or you have experience with working with CRM systems. So that's the difference. When you write your cover letter, you cover all the essentials and some of as many as desirables that you have. And then what I have done, I added a quite good, powerful personal statement, which covers all of these in just one page, as you can see. So one page covering all of these essentials and some of the desirables. So it's good to go through this and read, and for each of them try to see in one paragraph how many of these are covered. And then I added some like a kind of evaluation of the application of the cover letter as well. So, and then in that page, as an employer, I could see education, experience, skills, communication skills, data analysis, organizational skills, teamwork, and some of the desirable skills. So it was easy for me because of the good structure. It was quite easy to see all of these in just one page with a few short paragraphs. So I send you the example, and then you can read it to have more clear understanding of how to write a powerful cover letter or a job or personal statement or whatever else that you call it. So that was it for today. We have 5 minutes before I jump to the next session that I have, but I'm going to use this 5 minutes for answering any questions